Hello, my name is Ajirotutu, and the title of my chapel talk is The Best Leader Knows When to Follow. In America, children have to practice fire drills, tornado drills, and active shooter drills. Mass shootings are just as normalized as natural disasters, and although it is well known that it is much easier to pull a trigger than to wield any other weapon, this country has still allowed the use of guns to become the norm. In Ben Taub's study at IFL Science, he found that in the U.S. today, quote, 99.85% of people in America will know someone affected by gun violence, end quote. The normalization of this American gun culture is what has led to 12,246 homicides and 66,673 assaults in 2018 alone. America has about 270 million guns, with many states having little to no regulation on them. The facts show that with more regulation, there are a fewer number of assaults and suicides, and the U.S. states that have more relaxed gun regulation have a higher frequency of gun violence. When speaking on gun restriction, it is best to look at developed countries similar to America, such as Australia, who banned all semi-automatic and automatic weapons after the devastating 1996 Port Arthur massacre, and Australia has not had one mass shooting since. While the United States, arguably the world's leader, has had over 50 mass shootings since the Columbine High School attack in 1999. All over America, people are experiencing the negative effects of guns, and it means that it is time for reform, because gun control works for other countries and can definitely work here in the United States. When looking at a global map of gun-related deaths, the statistics show that America has a whopping 25 times higher rate of gun deaths than any other developed country, such as Japan, Australia, Norway, and the United Kingdom. These developed countries have some of the most restrictive gun laws, but also have the lowest gun-related deaths in the world. Many Americans might see Japan's approach to guns as controlling or excessive, but in all reality, according to Chris Weller from Business Insider, quote, it is what has allowed Japan to have a yearly gun deaths rarely totaling more than 10, end quote. Journalist Chris Weller reports that in Japan, citizens have to, quote, attend all-day classes, pass a written test, and achieve at least 95% accuracy during a shooting range test, end quote. They also have to pass a mental health evaluation at a hospital and go through an extensive background check that includes friends and family, as well as notify their local police station on their gun ownership. Japan has the right idea, because if there were more requirements and background checks to show a person's past criminal history or violence in America, it could prevent someone like Nicholas Cruz from being able to purchase the guns he used at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Japan does not use this method to strip people of gun freedom, but to make sure that these weapons end up in the hands of the right people and are used in the right way, which ultimately keeps the country safe. An often repeated critique is the question of why we would even compare the United States to other countries. Many believe that the U.S. is not socially and economically the same as any other country in the world, which is true because no two countries are identical. Yet, people tend to forget that even though we may be from different countries, we are all still human. This means that it does not matter what country you're in because gun restriction has shown to be the most effective method of lessening the negative impacts of guns on all humans. If Americans were to live in a world where we could have universal background checks, no military-grade weapons, and more restriction on semi-automatic weapons, we could have a world where people do not have to live in fear of being the next victim at the end of a barrel. Thank you.